G'day, Michael here. This is my all-flying axis Cartesian printer, and what I mean by all-flying axis is the build plate static, and that's a big advantage for when you're printing, particularly large objects. Obviously, the more that the pieces are getting rattled around and shaken as they're being printed is a problem, and I'm needing to make larger and larger parts as things go on, and obviously it's a bit of a wrestle having that moving mass minimal at the same time giving you a big build volume. The build volume is about it's over 400 by 400 by 200. It's over those figures, but let's just call it that for the ease of this conversation. The build plate's got a 750 watt element, so it heats very quickly. It's a 10mm steel plate. The bed heats it in about the same time frame as the hot end, and the hot end's got a 60 watt element in it as well. Now the hot end is a 2-in 1-out, and that's about as tight as I could mount this thing. It's a normal size, but you can see on the size of this printer it looks rather small. Unfortunately, I've got a fairly long Bowden arrangement. Now I'd like to have a lightweight Bowden feeder actually travelling on the x-axis, maybe for flexible filament. But in any case, for the moment, I'm putting regular filaments through it, and I've got the print here set for 8 cubic millimeters per second as my limiter on Prusa Slicer, and it's doing about 70% of that right now because I'm getting it to do the first layer, and I'm really pressing this down because this is a very heavy-duty part that I don't want any gaps because it has to be waterproof. Also, it is a pressure component on a pressure tank, so it has to be very strong. So I'm throwing a lot of material at this thing. I'm not sure how much this will weigh, but it'll probably be about 700 or 800 grams, and I'm expecting it to be printed in about 20 hours. So the printer will do about 1 kilo per day. Okay, what does that look like on a feeder? Well, here's the spur wheel on the Bowden feeder, and you can see that's rotating fairly quickly. And there is, a few seconds so you can see it. Now that is a 3 kilogram spool. There's a 1 kilogram spool for comparison, so that's like 2 pounds and nearly 7 pounds. 2 pounds being the 1 kilo roughly, and about 6 or 7 pounds for the 3 kilo spool. So yeah, so it's going through the material pretty quickly. I expect, like I said, this thing to be able to do about 1 kilo per 24-hour period. So far I haven't done a 24-hour print. This is the closest to a 24-hour print, but it is going to weigh about 800 grams, like I said, so yeah, it's going to get close to that. Well, alright, the reason why I've done this, obviously, is with a static build plate, it gives you a lot of advantage with a larger print particularly. Now obviously a little 100mm cube that you get to sort of the domestic size, having a moving bed is okay, but you can imagine this 10mm aluminium plate going backwards and forwards printing. There's a lot of moving mass. This way I actually have a lot less mass moving by having all the printing rig moving. So the inertia and momentum of this assembly is a lot better than if I was moving the bed. Also, the part doesn't get shaken, the part is static. Whereas if you have a bed traveling backwards and forwards and you're using it to make a fairly tall print, it's getting shaken while it's printed. So you have a lot better, with a static bed, you have a lot better sort of stability for the print. You're not less likely to sort of rattle it off the bed. Well, I guess that's it. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, ask a question, leave a comment. Bye for now.